Thor: The Dark World, widely considered to be one of, if not the worst film the MCU has to offer. Do I agree with that? We'll find out. What's up guys, my name is Ryan, welcome to my channel if you are new here. So the next film we have to watch on our MCU journey is Thor: The Dark World. As I just said, I know a lot of people hate this movie, and I understand why. I've never been one to hate on this movie like a lot of other people. I always have a decent time with it, but I do agree it is probably one of the weaker films in the MCU. But we'll see if my opinion goes up or down this rewatch. So I'm just gonna jump right into this. I'll watch the film, then give my thoughts after. What's up guys, just finished Thor: The Dark World, so let's get started talking about it. Spoilers by the way. Overall, bland, lifeless, anticlimactic, unenergetic. Unfortunately, overall, that's what this film is. I always think I'm gonna like this film a bit more than I actually end up liking it, because I'm always like, oh, the relationship with Thor and Loki is nice. Nice to see Jane back. The relationship with Thor and Jane is kind of nice. We go back to Asgard and we always get some beautiful shots. Asgard just looks beautiful whenever we go there, so it's nice to look at. But every time this film just goes a bit further down for me, and it's just blah. Here, let me get some positives out of the way first. I actually enjoy the cast in this film, although the movie itself is kind of bland. I think the cast does a decent job. I think they did their best with what they had. I think the problem with this film is that the script was maybe a bit off. I mean, I know they had some troubled production, but I really think that the actors, I still really enjoy their characters. Chris Hemsworth, great as Thor. I like Natalie Portman as Jane. Tom Hiddleston is great as Loki. They're just in this bland film. They're just surrounded by in a plot that just has no life, no energy, no substance to it. Like I said, the relationship with Thor and Loki is probably the best thing about this film. There's some really nice moments, but still, like, even those moments, you can tell, like, there's a lot of moments in this film that are supposed to be emotionally powerful and have an impact, but they're just kind of lacking and anticlimactic, especially the death of Frigga, which it is emotional, but it's not as emotional and powerful as it should be. It should be like here, and it's here, just so anticlimactic. I do like how they show that Loki did kind of actually care for Frigga, his mother. I like how we see, like, after he finds out about it and Thor goes to see him, how his cell, he casts an illusion to make it look like he's doing just fine, but Thor's like, no illusions, Loki. Like, Thor can tell it's an illusion, and he breaks the illusion, and Loki's cell is all torn apart, and he's like, you can tell things have been thrown around. He was angry. He doesn't look very good. He's all shaggy and disheveled and all that. You can tell he's upset by Frigga's death, which I liked. And I think he's so upset because it's his fault. He told Curse, like, when he escaped the Asgardian prison, he said something like, you want to take the stairs on the left, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. It's kind of like a Spider-Man situation. He let the killer go, and they go on to kill someone they care about. But then I'm like, wait a minute. What did you think was gonna happen, Loki? What you think the Dark Elves are gonna spare anybody? Like, so, gosh, even, like, the good points about this film, there's still something just negative about it. There are a few funny bits in here, but nothing, like, stand out funny, except maybe the bit where Loki keeps transforming into different people and he transforms into Captain America. That bit was pretty funny, but still not like laugh out loud funny or anything like that. It's nice to go back to Asgard. There are some beautiful shots. Asgard looks so beautiful, especially the Bifrost Bridge. I think it's a bit fun to see Jane go there for the first time and to see her kind of explore and see Asgard for the first time. Gosh, I'm really trying to fight on, like, figuring out more positives about the film, but like I said, just like every positive still has some negative to it. So I guess we'll just go ahead and jump into the negatives. This film is just like almost emotionless, and there's no weight to impactful things that happen, and it's all just so anticlimactic. Like, even like one of the first scenes in this film where Thor and his friends are on that planet, they're like protecting the people, and this big like rock soldier comes up and he's like so intimidating, and he's like marching up to Thor. It looks like they're gonna have this big battle, and then Thor just like one hit with the hammer and he's like shattered into a million pieces. It's just like, well, that was anticlimactic, and that's how I was going and what I was thinking throughout this whole film. Frigga's death is kind of bland. Like, you can tell it was supposed to be so emotionally powerful, and I don't think it was completely lacking emotion, but it wasn't as powerful as it should have been. Loki's death isn't very impactful. Upon rewatch, we know he didn't actually die, and it's not like Infinity War where, you know, half the characters get snapped away, and we knew all the characters were coming back, but it was still very powerful and effective. It was still like a jaw-dropping moment when that happened, but unlike Infinity War, upon rewatch, the death just has no impact when even though you know he's not really dead, he's coming back. I know this film, I've heard some things about how troubled the production was. I've heard that this film was kind of cycling through directors. I believe Kenneth Branagh was set to return, then he exited the project, and they got Patty Jenkins, who went on to direct the DCEU Wonder Woman films with Gal Gadot, and then she exited, and then we got, I think, Alan Taylor, who is the actual director of this film. And then originally Hela was supposed to be the main villain, but I think it was the Marvel Creative Committee was like, that's not gonna sell enough toys, little boys aren't gonna want to play with like a female villain action figure, so they instead made Malekith the villain. I don't know if Hela would have been a better villain for this film or not, because Hela is the villain in Thor Ragnarok, and that film is great, so maybe it would have been better if Hela was the villain here, maybe not, I don't know. But they make Malekith the villain, and he's just so lifeless, and he's only memorable because of how unforgettable and bland he is. He is like a standout, like, not great villain. His delivery is just monotone, ineffective, lifeless. His motivation, there's no development with his character. He just wants to turn the entire world dark just because he's just the typical power-hungry supervillain, but he's even, like, less than that because there's no development with him at all. There's no relational motivation to him. There's no standout breakout scene or performance or line from him. The only thing I liked with Malekith was when after he kills Frigga and Thor shoots him with lightning, and he gets the famous, you know, like in the comics, the two-face where one side of his face is dark and one side of his face is light. That's like the only standout thing about Malekith in this film. Odin, I think, is also a bit unlikable in this film. Like, at first, like when he's talking to Loki, when they bring him in, he's like, "We are not gods. We are no different than the humans. We are born, we live, we die." And then later he's like being so rude to Jane and like telling Thor to forget about her, and humans are fleeting. It's just like, whoa, okay, hey. And then when Jane comes to Asgard, he's like kind of rude. He's like, take her back, until he finds out the ether's in her. I said this film definitely had some funny bits, and it does, but there's also some like really dumb bits, I think. Like Eric Selvig without his pants, like that just, what the heck, brother? That's not funny at all. It's just so dumb. Also, those people in that, like, final fight with Malekith, like, outside the library when Jane and Eric are running through, they're like, what are y'all doing? They're like, it's Thor. Like, he's outside swinging the hammer and everything, and they're just filming, like, they're not running away until, like, the glass shatters at the windows they're at, and it's like, bruh, y'all are so dumb. I also found myself, like, losing focus and interest a few times throughout the film. Like, I started thinking about something else, or, like, messing with my phone, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching a movie, like, I have to review this. The film's just not that great at holding your attention. It kind of stinks that this film is so bland, because it's decently important. Like, there's an Infinity Stone in here, the Reality Stone, which I feel was kind of wasted. And obviously in Endgame, they go back to the events of Thor: The Dark World to get the Reality Stone and all that. So this film is important, but it is just not the most enjoyable to watch. If I could skip this film on an MCU rewatch, I honestly probably would, and maybe you're like, you can, but I don't know. I just don't like to skip a film unless it's, like, actually, like, horrible. And this film isn't horrible. It's vanilla. It's, you know, it's fine, but it's just kind of bland. Going back to the Reality Stone, it's just, the Reality Stone can make someone perceive reality as whatever the wielder wants them to perceive reality as, and during that final fight when Malekith has the Reality Stone, like, running through his veins and all that, and he's just doing typical, like, just shooting energy at Thor in that final fight, it's the Reality Stone. Make him see stuff that's not there, that's not reality. Like, It's the reality stone. Use its power. Like, what the heck are we doing? We just wasted the reality stone. And then the credits scenes. The first one I decently enjoyed. Sif and Volstagg take the reality stone to the Collector. So it was nice to see the Collector and the mention of, like, hey, it's dangerous to have 2 Infinity Stones on Asgard, that's why we're bringing this to you. But it's also like, you really trust the Collector? Like he's a villain in the comics, and like even in this one scene, like, he's acting so shady and shifty, and it's like, bruh, you really trust this guy with this thing? Like, really? And then the second credits scene, it's nice to see Thor come back to Earth and all that, and the smile on Jane's face, and then they cut to that I completely forgot about this, but during the final fight, some creature came through a portal, like some big monstrous type thing, and it's like, just still around, like chasing birds at the end or something. It's like, what the heck, that thing's still out there? And it's just like on the loose. Like, even the characters completely forgot about it, I guess. And I just like, that thing's still out there? I guess we're meant to assume that Thor deals with it later, like off screen or something. Like, it's a big monstrous thing. It's like gonna be tearing up cities and all that. But I just guess we're meant to assume that Thor deals with it off camera or something like that. Overall, guys, this is, I don't know if it's the worst MCU film. We'll see when I do my full ranking of all the MCU films, but this is definitely one of the weakest films in the franchise. Overall, I think I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. Nothing is memorable. There's no standout scene or moment or line in this film. This film is a bit rough to get through. It's not a bad film, though. I do want to stress that. This is not like a horrible, like, oh, I hate it film. Like, it's not disrespectful to the Thor mythology at all, I don't think. Except maybe Malekith could have had better development, been a better villain. I don't know if there's much to him in the comics. I haven't done much research on the character, but it's not like a horrible film. It's not like Batman and Robin and some of those other early 90s Batman films, you know what I'm saying? There is some enjoyability to be had with this film, but like I said, even like the enjoyable parts have somewhat of a negativity to them because of like how bland like everything in this film somehow is. But overall, guys, I believe that's all my thoughts on Thor: The Dark World. Super excited for the next film, Winter Soldier. I think Winter Soldier is the point where the MCU really like starts to take off, and that's when I think it started to become this big cultural thing, and like it became consistently great in quality. I think the MCU up to this point was consistently good in quality, but Winter Soldier onwards is when it starts getting like great in quality. Like almost every single film from Winter Soldier onwards up till like phase 4 is like pretty great usually. So I'm excited to continue this MCU journey, but this one just, it's funny, you get kind of a dud and then you get maybe one of the best MCU films in Winter Soldier, but hopefully y'all will stay tuned for that review coming out soon, hopefully next week. But thank y'all for watching my review. Like and subscribe right over here if you enjoy my content. And right over here is my previous MCU review for Iron Man 3. Right here is a playlist of all my MCU videos. You can watch all my other MCU reviews up to this point. I'll see y'all in the next video, guys. Y'all have a blessed one.